Live, we're live.
We're live, excellent. So, evening, everybody. Welcome to Mauls Balls and all. We are going live on the Irish Rugby Facebook banter page and also out on live on YouTube. And we're also going out on the Connacht fan forum page. So, shout out there to our two mods on the Irish. I'm a mod on that as well, by the way. So to Chris and to oh Jesus, my head's gone. Sorry, lads. Anyway, we're going live. The lads are putting it up there for that. So with me this evening we have Mike Reedy, all the way from Scotland, who's in the thick of it after last week. We have Matt Boland is joining us here as well. Richie Holland, Danny Brosnan, and Peter Martin is joining us. And our special guest this evening is Jack Ainger, prop for Connacht currently, formerly of Suttonians, I believe, Jack. And
yeah, that's right.
And Leinster. You had 5 caps for Leinster, and you're somewhere between 40 and 50 for Connacht at this stage, I think, are you?
Yeah, I actually got 50 in my last game for Connacht there at the end of the season. So
brilliant.
Well done.
You're well settled in at this stage.
Yeah. It's my fourth year, I think, third or fourth.
Fourth year, yeah. What was around? Yeah. 2020, I think. August 2020, you joined, was it?
Yeah, just after lockdown. Yeah.
Yeah. So, how are you finding it over here in the West with us?
Oh, I love it. Yeah. I pretty much settled in straight away. I kind of was thrown into the deep end. Like I played a lot of games as soon as I came here, so that was probably the main reason for going is try and get more game time, and I certainly got that. So I love it so far, and it's great bunch of lads and great coaches over the years, and especially this year. They're still settling in, but yeah, we've a good group here, and hopefully we'll go one better this year. We're getting there last year.
Yeah. Brilliant. Now, we're delighted to have you over here, and you'll probably hear me roaring out of the clan stand at every match. I'm there shouting on, so I must keep an eye out and meet you face to face now the next day I'm in there.
Yeah, do.
Unfortunately, this evening, Peter Burke wasn't able to join us. He's been pretty much inconsolable all week since his hero, Finn Russell, has been knocked out of the World Cup. And as you all know, Peter has been a big fan of Finn, and he's been telling us all along how he was going to lift the Webb Ellis Cup, and he's totally inconsolable. So, folks, if you want to, cheer Peter up, you can send him a message there. And
James, am I right in thinking that? James, am I right in thinking he's actually gone off to sort? He had a big order on the way from China. From
order of what? Finn Russell hats, was it? Or?
Yeah, something about Finn Russell
T-shirt.
Some sort of stuff in from China. He was going to get print saying, Finn Russell's a fucking legend or some shite like that.
I think now that you mention it,
he's had to go off and get that sorted out, hasn't he?
He has. All right.
Yeah.
So this evening, lads, as I say, Jack, is you're our special guest. We're probably going to go through some of the games from last weekend, but do you want to give us a little bit of a background into how you got into rugby and how you ended up in Connacht and all of that?
Yeah. So I think I was about 7 when I started playing. My mother brought me down to Suttonians, just randomly and threw me in. So yeah, I played there all the way up until I was about into school, so 17 or 18. Then I went to St. Fintan's High School in Sutton. So I was playing between the two of them. I took more of as soon as we kind of got into the senior cup with Fintan's, I didn't play as much for Suttonians then after that. So that was great. And then from there I got into the academy, Leinster Academy from school, and I did 3 years there. I loved every minute of it, and as you said earlier, I got 5 caps, and then there's an opportunity came up to go to Connacht, and I jumped at it, and that brought me there.
I believe you got a bonus point try in your first game with Connacht. Is that right?
I got a try in my first game. That was the bonus.
Yeah, that was the bonus point against Ulster, I believe.
Ulster in the Aviva, yeah, that was brilliant. Yeah,
that's one way to do it.
Yeah, I was at that game. That was a cracking game.
Yeah, geez, that was a great way to start it off here.
So, welcome to the show, and we look forward to seeing what Connacht can do during the season. We had a number of very important end of pool games over the last week or so. The first one we had was probably not much to talk about in this one. Fairly expected result on Thursday last, which seems a long time ago now. New Zealand versus Uruguay, 73-0 win on that one. Fairly predictable stuff. Did we see anything in that now that's going to scare us for next Saturday? I'll start with you there, Jack, maybe, if you saw the game.
Yeah, I was watching bits of it. I suppose, like, they're always dangerous, the All Blacks, but the one thing I'd say is, like, the last 3 games has been Uruguay, Namibia, Italy, and like, they haven't really been tested. They've all kind of put cricket scores on all of them, and that's probably not best preparation for them coming into against Ireland. Like, they're probably fearing Ireland more so after the form they're in. So, like, they're obviously always dangerous. They kind of live off like turnovers, and that's when they get going, and their attack game is very fluid, but there's nothing there. I think our defense is good enough to stop anything they can throw at us, to be honest. I think there's nothing there that's scaring me too much.
That's good. Anyone else see the game? Peter Martin, did you see it?
No, I didn't. The only thing I would say, I would agree with what Jack is saying as regards, the New Zealand prep for the game. They're like, I suppose. They say Ireland are very much battle hard. Say they're probably between themselves and South Africa, the 2 most battle hardened in the competition. New Zealand, they haven't had the tendency to really test their systems, their style of play, and any kind of, I suppose, trick plays they want to run against us. They haven't had that. So that's my view. That's my view and my take on New Zealand's prep coming up for Saturday.
Okay, Danny, were you feeding the heifers or did you see the match?
I was feeding the heifers at that stage because I didn't get a chance to see any matches. I'd say it's only the Ireland-Scotland game I saw in full this weekend. Just been so flaming busy, so I'd say just wait until then, James, to get me in. Fair
enough. Jack, by the way, we probably have subtitles coming up there for some of Danny. He's from down in Kerry there, so there is that language barrier there. And there's also a bit of a time lag, you'll notice as well on the
Eurovision. I'm used to that time zone.
Yeah. Mike Reedy, did you see that game? Or
I did, yeah, I saw it. I mean, New Zealand didn't score for the first 23 minutes. They were very slow coming out of blocks. Who I was really impressed with is Damien McKenzie. Who have they picked their squad? Have they picked their team for our game
tomorrow? I think
tomorrow.
Right. So, yeah. I mean, he played full back.
No, not yet.
He was probably their best. He was probably their most impressive player. But he's not going to start at full back ahead of Borden Barrett. So, and they're not even expecting to be in the 23. I was watching a podcast last night, a New Zealand podcast, and they are worried about us. Make no mistake about it. They're seriously concerned about us. Now there's all former players that were on this, and they definitely are. Some of them they don't think they have a chance, and they weren't talking like for our benefit. They were talking because they genuinely don't think that unless they turn up big style that it's all smoke and mirrors, isn't it? We have to turn up.
Yeah,
we have to turn up.
It's for us to impose our game on them. The Damien McKenzie little flick back off the touchline was fairly impressive, but other than that, it wasn't a really memorable match. Matt, did you see that one?
I did see it. Yeah. Look, I mean, as everybody else has kind of alluded to, they've had 3 really easy games, and the 3 easy games that they played, the teams just didn't turn up. Albeit Uruguay played really well for the first 20 minutes, and actually were unlucky not to score a couple of times. But like, as everybody else is saying, like, I'd say the All Blacks are fairing us more than we're fairing them now at the minute, because the tables have turned in terms of the results between Ireland and New Zealand over the last few years, where we're actually now, we've won more games than we've lost against them. So, like, confidence and momentum going into that game for us is definitely with us. New Zealand are it's going to be a shock for them because they haven't been really tested in the last 3 games. So and the France game was so long ago now. The All Blacks are the All Blacks.
Basically, the 2 games they have been tested in, they've been badly beaten, like France and South Africa. Just prior
there
to
you
that.
go. Look, I mean, it's going to be a cracker of a game, and I can't wait to see it. And
Richie, did you see that one?
I seen bits of it. I was just thinking there, it'll be an interesting thing as we played our quote unquote easy games at the start of it, and New Zealand played at the end of it. So I'm just wondering which system will work better. Who's going to favour them more? I think personally Ireland, in so far that we're going in now and we're sharp going in, whereas Australia really haven't played anybody since they were beaten by France.
Lads, we've improved as far as I'm concerned every game. We were dreadful against Samoa, and since that game we have improved every game we've played, and we've ironed out the line-out problems in the Scotland game. If the way I see it, if we play as well as we can play, and New Zealand play as well as they can play, we'll win. It's as simple as that.
I saw you had that up on the page during the week. There's a few comments coming in there. We're looking forward to Peter Burke modelling his Finn Russell Y fronts. That should be a sight to behold. All right, yeah. A few others there coming in as well. And what's that noise? Is Danny Brosnan playing Candy Crush on his phone again? Things like that. So, folks, if you have any, those of you that are watching,
I'll turn the volume down.
James, he's not playing Candy Crush; he's playing Heifer Crush.
If any of you folks have watched, if you have any questions for Jack, feel free. I'm sure Jack will be happy to answer any of the viewers' questions.
I'll give you that one, Martin.
So, France, Italy. Next game was a little bit disappointing as well. 60 points to 7 there. Jack, did you see that one?
Yeah, I was watching bits, but I didn't see the whole thing. But Italy have been kind of disappointing so far. I thought they kind of put up a bit more of a fight, but France are lethal, aren't they? I think France and Ireland are ahead of the rest, although not by much. There's no real weakness there with France. Like they've a good set piece. Their scrum is a serious weapon. They've serious maul, and then they probably more dangerous backs than like someone like South Africa. Well, they have the power up front, so I think like France are the ones you would worry about.
Speaking of backs, isn't it great to see our man named on the squad?
Mac.
Yeah.
100%.
I know. I was a bit worried that he wasn't going to make it, but he wasn't training. I don't think he's trained this week. But
no, I don't think he has.
His calf is just a bit tight. But no, he's getting another one who's getting better every game. That worked for the first try or second try. He came all the way from the opposite wing and made the extra number. That kind of stuff. That he's a really smart rugby player. Like he adds so much to that attack.
Yeah, I think was it Matt Williams or Dave Carney that did a little bit of analysis on it and had it there on the Against the Head show the other night, or whoever was on showing how he had come all the way across and was the making of that try. Of course, you and I, Jack, were fairly biased in talking about Mac and all that being Connacht men. So apologies to the rest of you folks. I'll be doing that tonight. It's my show, so I can do what I want.
Lyrical there, huh?
Any of the rest of you, any comments on that France game before we move on?
Yeah, well, I watched it as well. And I was actually very disappointed in Italy, considering they were beaten so heavily by New Zealand. I actually thought they were going to come out and play against France, because the last time they played against France, they actually nearly won that bloody game. And it was down to the last couple of minutes where they were pounding their defensive line and just only lost by a couple of points. But anyway, I was disappointed. I thought they were going to come out and prove something to go, no, we're not that fucking team anymore. And put it up to France. I didn't believe France were going to lose that game, but I was disappointed with Italy because it just didn't perform at all.
Yeah, same as that. I thought it'd be a bit tighter too.
Yeah,
I have to say,
just to expand on that, Italy didn't show up for the World Cup, let alone that match.
Exactly.
They showed up in the Namibia game, and outside
they did well against Uruguay, considering they were down at half time by 10 points as well, and came back and won that well. So it looked like they were kind of getting something going. But
Yeah, that was a bit of a surprise. All right.
I can't understand why Capuozzo wasn't playing full back. He's a far better full back than Tommaso Allen, and I just couldn't understand, by the way, that his involvement in he was basically kept out of it. And then
he never really featured at all, did he?
No.
In any of the games, he hasn't really featured. And I was expecting great things from him.
Was he not carrying an injury into it, and he was only fit halfway through the pool?
Yeah,
that might explain it.
That Damien, that Pinot though is different gravy, isn't he?
Yeah.
Something else.
One thing there is about Pinot is he can't defend for shit.
No, he can't.
He actually can't.
Know how to defend.
He's amazing with ball in hand. He's a bit of a looper.
He was at fault for both of the tries that New Zealand scored against them. Yeah. He was definitely at fault for both of them, and he was at fault for one Italy scored the other night as well.
His positioning is brutal.
But he's different. He's different gravy going the other way though.
Oh yeah,
yeah, absolutely.
Having said that, is he better than McHanson? I don't know. I'm not sure. I don't think he is.
Oh Jesus, no. Oh, stop it, will you? Don't even.
Can't be saying stuff like
wash
that.
Your mouth out, will you, please?
I would not swap one Irish player. The only player I would take from any team is obviously Dupont. You couldn't say you wouldn't take him. You wouldn't add to any team, but.
You mean Hannibal Dupont, is it?
Well,
apparently he's going to be wearing a mask, a Hannibal Lecter style mask when he comes on again.
You need a fucking crash helmet if he's going to play the box anyway. I'll tell you about this.
Phantom of the Opera going around with wearing this thing.
They'll target him, by the way. Make no mistake about it. They'll target him.
By the way, folks.
Do you remember? Was it Harden McQueen a few years ago as well? The same mask as well, the big foam yoke. Could be something like that.
No, it can only be a very thin one. Apparently, the World Rugby only allows very
certain amounts. Yeah.
By the way, we had Dan Levy on last week flogging his whiskey, and I went and I
just
bought
halfway down that bottle. You are.
That's
you've nothing for sale, have you?
Whiskey. You don't have anything to flog this week, do you?
Do you know the name? Do you know what the name for you is in Scotland? A Jakey.
Oh yeah.
You get called a Jakey if you drink a lot.
Oh me?
Never heard that.
I've never heard Jakey. I didn't hear it on here.
That's rich coming from us Scottish fellas. Jesus Christ, they're saturated. They're pickled, most of them over there. I'd say it was good fun over there this week, Mike. We'll get on to the Scotland game in a few minutes, but Jack, we had your other compatriot on a few weeks ago as well, Peter Dooley. He wasn't flogging anything either.
Yeah,
my plan is to get all of the Connacht team on eventually.
We're very humble out in Connacht.
Yeah.
Right, let's see. Right, let's move on. So to Pool C game on Saturday is Wales versus Georgia. Jack, did you see that one?
I actually didn't see that one, to be honest. But what I would say about Wales, although they've got a lot of stick for the last while, and rightly so, they kind of look like although they've had easy enough games, they're definitely looking a bit better than they did, and probably better off than England as well. So they're slowly getting there with Gatland.
They seem to have lifted it by comparison with their club games and their equivalent of the provincial games over there. They're in dire straits, and all of a sudden for the World Cup, they seem to have lifted the performance as usual.
They all seem to play. They seem to have way more passion when they play for Wales. It's a strange when the clubs are in a bit of a state, but I think we get them. Is the semi-final is Wales or Argentina, isn't it? Yeah, obviously that's a kind of a dream if you get through to that. But they still have bits of their game that are dangerous. Although, I'd be happily take them.
Yeah, George North was fairly impressive, I thought.
It was at 13. He's 13, wasn't he? Yeah. He's been there for a good while now. A lot of experience. So,
as you might see on the screen, our colleague Peter Burke is alive and well, and even though he's still consoling himself, he says, Jack, would you stop? Wales are shite.
Maybe. I was trying to be nice to him.
He's diplomatic.
That's probably a compliment coming from Peter Burke anyway. Everyone's shite in his view. His Connacht are shite a lot as well, so he does, by the way.
Yeah.
That fucker doesn't look in the mirror once in a while.
So Wales seem to lift it when they get into the red shirt. It's an awful pity that Munster can't do the same. Matt, did you see any of that Wales Georgia game?
I did, yeah. I watched it all, yeah. There wasn't a game I missed this weekend, so.
Oh, come on.
Like, I don't know what it is about competitions like this. Wales always just turn up for it. Like they played shit all year and we're in dire straits with all the shit going on around the Six Nations and all that crack that was going on and dumping people out of press conferences and all. And I don't know. They've just pulled it around, really, haven't they? Fair play.
Heading on the strike and everything, wasn't it?
Yeah, the strike thing. Yeah. So
yeah,
whatever it is, they seem to play for Wales, play for the country. And when Gatlin came back in, he seemed to steady the ship again, or whatever he's done. I don't know what he's done, but like they're not going. They could easily beat Argentina, but they won't go any further than that.
Okay, fair enough. Anyone else have any comments on that particular one before we move on to one of the most exciting games of the weekend?
I didn't see it.
Okay. So the next big one was Pool D on Saturday was England versus Samoa. England coming out 1 point winner on that one. Fairly tight game, and they were very lucky, I thought, in the end.
Yeah.
Jack, did you see that one?
Yeah, I was watching. I was out for dinner, but I was watching it in the window of the bar. I was watching bits of it, but they looked fairly brutal. Like from all accounts that they shouldn't have won. But it's like with England, I don't know. They've just since Borwick's come in, it's just looks worse. The rugby, like it's just a lot of box kicking. They're just trying to orientate around forwards, but they don't actually have that much of a dominant forward pack. And like what they didn't score many tries at all up until I think what they hadn't scored before one of the games there. They hadn't scored in a good few months. Like they were just although their attack has come on a small bit, but it's they're nothing to be worried about.
No, they're not. This crack with forward, he seems to be just kicking the ball away, and it's not working.
Yeah, it's just brutal. It's what they did in Leicester, and it worked for Leicester, and they won a premiership from it. But I think like when you get to international level, like you can't. Everyone is unbelievable, so you can't rely on box kicking, forward kicking, drop goals. Like that's just not enough, I don't think, in a World Cup.
No, I agree with you. Peter Martin, did you see that one?
Yeah, and I was roaring at the TV that, I was hoping, praying that Samoa would just get it across the line, but they just kind of shot themselves in the foot. But they should have won it. There was a bit of luck, wasn't it? Farrell basically let the shot clock go down.
Yeah.
That has to rank. That's just where England are at the moment, letting the shot clock run down and being embarrassing. But somehow they're still in the fucking competition, and somehow they're going to be, with a bit of luck, Fiji will do them on the weekend. That's all I can say. But Samoa played some great stuff when they got their pass and go and they got the phases together. They really looked threatened. They were great to watch. They were the best what you expect from the Pacific Nations team. Hard, physical, direct running, bit of offloading. Their try, the first Awong's try, was a beautiful little flick pass. It was almost blinking you miss it from their outside centre to Awong to get it down. Just a lovely bit of skill. And of course he almost got a hat-trick, Awong. But look, we know what happened. England pretty much kind of stuck the ball further up their jumper, and they managed to grind out a win through the forwards. They managed to get a couple of tries through the forwards. So look, I'm just hoping this weekend's the end of them, and we won't see Bartek doing his robotic press conferences because he's awful.
Yeah, it's terrible to watch. Of course, Jack, your former colleague, Levi Fafita, he got carded in that game. or as we call him in our house, Losie's dad, because Losie used to play with my son in Galwegians there, so he's more, that's Losie's dad when he was on the telly, you know. Yeah, that was unfortunate getting carded a little bit high, in fairness.
Yeah, it was a small bit, yeah. But like Levis, I think he's been great. It was thought, I heard that when he moved to Iona that they weren't letting him play in the World Cup. So then I saw him on the team sheet, so I was delighted for him. But he's a bit unlucky with that. Those Islander guys that don't get the look of the refs as well, don't they?
Yeah.
Yeah.
Richie, did you see that one?
Me?
No, I didn't actually see that one either. I was aware of the
Mike.
result and.
Yeah. Okay, Mike, did you see it?
I did, yeah, I did. England were absolutely dreadful. That's the only word I can use to describe them. Dreadful. Every aspect of their game is miles off par. Samoa were robbed. In fairness, that they scored a perfectly good try, and I still could not see a so-called knock on. There was 3 hands in the air, and it wasn't clear and obvious. The try was given, and it wasn't clear and obvious. The try should have been given.
The TMO was very. He was very adamant, though, that it was Hodgkin's hand that was in the middle of the other 3 hands there. But I agree with you. I couldn't see how that couldn't be given as clear and obvious.
The key word is clear and obvious, and it wasn't clear and obvious. And I just think it's time. Like, the lower tier teams have been hard done by in some situations, even with yellow cards and red cards and whatever. Other teams have seemed to have. South Africa, like I've said before, would absolutely have to kill somebody to get a card. So I just don't. I can't see how there seems to be any fairness in it. Now Samoa, okay, they weren't going to go anywhere in the tournament anyway, and England were going to qualify one way or the other, win the group anyway. But like in fairness, and they should have lost that game, and they deserve to lose that game. And their brand of rugby is just dreadful, so bad. Everything. Like when Marcus Smith runs around and he looks good running around, but he's going nowhere. There's no format to anything. They have no system. It's dreadful stuff. Like they kick the ball with no purpose. They all rant and rave about Freddie Stewart, the full back. He wouldn't get a fucking game for any of the provinces in Ireland. He wouldn't as a full back.
No, Mike, in fairness, would you get off the fence and tell us what you really think?
I think Wales and England are very fortunate to be still in the. Okay, Wales, to be fair, have improved as the tournament's gone on. So give them the benefit of the doubt, but England have got worse, and how they could get worse is beyond me.
Matt, did you see that one?
Yeah, I did. It was great. It was a great game from the small point of view. They should have won. They really were robbed. I believe. England were pure fucking shite. They don't even deserve to be at this point in the competition because they haven't been able to string a good game together since they got here. If they had been on our side of the draw, they'd been gone home long ago. Look, it was really disappointing for Samoa. They really should have won, and I think. With a simple penalty kick that Lima Sopoaga missed as well at the start, that was, I don't know how he missed it. Like he was like literally right in front of the posts, and then that try, how that was disallowed, it's just beyond me. As the lad says, it wasn't clear and obvious at all. It's beggars belief why they disallowed that try, but England were just so lucky, really so lucky.
By the way, this is not about being anti-English, right? I'm not anti-English. This is about the facts. England are so bad, it's embarrassing. Like with the resources they have, and the players they have, and everything, they are frightfully.
But Mike, I think that's part of the problem is that they believe they're an awful lot better than they actually are.
I don't know if they do anymore. By the way, I don't actually think they do anymore.
They don't. They've like Jamie George has played basically all their games because they don't trust their second choice hooker. They're weak. They don't know who to put in the back row. They're just basically chopping and changing the whole. Vunipola is about 2 stone overweight, and he doesn't run.
He's about 4 years. He's about 4 years past it as well.
Could they use the same excuse that Danny was trotting out every time Munster lost a game at the start of last season, that they were rebuilding?
Which is, I don't know England's excuses. They're rebuilding.
That's what I mean. Like, can they use that same excuse of a new head coach now and they're rebuilding?
It's hard to see though what they're like. There's no sign of an attack plan at all. Like since Bortwick's come in, it's been months now, and it's just kick the ball away, as you said. Like I don't even know who their attack coach is. Like, you know what I mean? That's
just try to kick the letter off the ball.
I'll tell you who the attack coach is the Kiwi Evans, who was with Harlequins. And he was like Harlequins. He seems to know what he's doing, but like he's only one voice in amongst 3 or 4. For me personally, when it comes to England, they've got Kevin Singfield, who's a league legend and a wonderful human being, but I think he's a goddamn spoofer when it comes to being a coach because their defense is not all that like.
Well, they're dreadful.
Yeah.
It's only
I would really love to play them. By the way, I'd love to play them in the semi-final.
Dara Weston actually said it there. About England that they're going to coast through to a semi-final without registering a single impressive performance.
Yeah.
Do you know something? By the way, if they get to a semi-final and they draw France, they're going to get eaten alive completely. They'll be beaten up.
That could happen too.
Mike,
if they get past Fiji, they're playing either France or South Africa. And
Mike, the way it is, if we somehow got hold of them, the 800 years might be forgotten about.
I'll tell you what, you could be looking at 70 points. Right now, we could put 70 points on them.
On England?
Yeah.
Probably.
We probably could actually. Go on, Jack.
It's interesting what Eddie Jones, remember, I know everyone hates him probably, but what he's saying about like the problems in England is just like the pathway is just all wrong, like from school into the academies, and they just whoever is employed there is not doing the right job, and there's no players coming through. Like if you like, as you said, like George's, Unipolis, like they've all been there for years, and they just haven't brought through the talent that they should have. Like look at Ireland that brought through like the Darises, Sheehan's, Keenans, like they've all replaced from 2019. Like
and Keane Prendergast as well. Don't forget Keane.
Yeah.
Oh yeah.
Gavin Coombs.
Kevin Coombs,
Had game must have been in there. Come on.
Sorry, did I get a terrible echo there for a minute? There's something wrong with me.
That's Brosnan. The fairies or something are acting the maggot. They're not happy with the budget or something down in Kerry.
We're going to mute you, Danny, for a minute. Is that any better?
Is that the Heelys or the fairies not happy with the budget?
Yeah, I've just muted Danny, and it seems to be an awful lot better.
The Healy Rays.
I think you should just be banned from this fucking show altogether.
Yeah. So okay. So the big one for the weekend, from an Irish point of view, is Ireland-Scotland. Scotland were going to have us figured out, and they were going to do X, Y, and Z. And as Conor McGregor says, they did nothing. Jack, what did you reckon to that game?
Yeah, listen, it was exactly what I thought. I think like Scotland are a funny one. Like they're for years we talk about like how much they've improved and they're at the races, but I just think they're miles off the pace, like nearly in the same bracket as Wales and England. But I just think like Ireland. I knew Ireland were going to win comfortably. It's just like Scotland had no real like their defense was really passive. They just looked like they were one-off runners in attack. They'd no proper structure. I think they just rely on Finn Russell, Peter's best mate, to get them out of trouble. But you can't do that against Ireland. When they've 13, 14 men on their feet the whole time, they're just going to eat that up. So Scotland were very disappointed. But Ireland, as I said, have got better every week, and they were very clinical. They took everything that was on.
Yeah, and then they had was about 20 odd phases there at one stage. Their best attack of the whole lot, and Ireland kept them out, and they did nothing, and they just seemed to run out of ideas at that point.
I don't think they even crossed the 22 in that.
Yeah, like they never looked like scoring. Like I was just watching, going right 20 phases, just going across the pitch, giving it to forwards who weren't running at the line. They weren't threatening defenders at all, so it was very easy to defend.
Yeah. So there's a comment after coming in there. As Peter isn't on the panel, can we all agree that Finn Russell had a great game for Scotland? Yeah, I absolutely agree. He only for them it would have been 150-0. Finn Russell was Peter's man. We'll have to agree with you, Peter. He's Peter Burke. That is, he's a great player, and we all agree with you that he's.
Yeah, we'll take his corner tonight from.
Matt, did you see that game?
Of course I did. Yeah. Like, you know,
Good question.
It's just funny. Like, what's it? Blair Kinghorn's statement during the week was, I think, we're going to end Ireland's 16 winning streak and send them home. And you know,
figured out
for that performance that they put in that first 20 minutes, that was a real kind of Scotland, no bother. For 20 minutes, 20 odd phases, they pounded our defence. And if you actually looked at it, they only crossed the gain line maybe once or twice. And that was one player, Schumann. Every time they attacked, they actually were pushed back. And it got to the point where they breached into the 22 and they were pushed back out of it. And then they found it hard to get back in. And as soon as that was, Ireland relieved that massive pressure, the game was over at that point, because Scotland were fucking wrecked. And they just had no other ideas. And like Finn Russell, we all know he can play a good game, and the Scottish lads play off him. But if he can't do anything, the rest of the team don't do anything. They were just lacking any what's the word I'm looking for? They just any bit of flair. They just lacked anything that could actually do anything or gain anything for them in the game. They were piss poor, you know. And Ireland just really, I mean, they were lucky to get 14 points in the second half. We could have easily nailed them.
We gave them to them.
Yeah, absolutely. Mike, go on ahead there. You saw it, Mike, yeah?
Oh, I did, yeah. You know, I think we need to give Ireland more credit for our defence than Scotland's lack of attacking ability, because they did throw everything. They threw everything in the kitchen sink at us. Now, the only guy with any potency was Tui Pilato. The rest of them were offering nothing, absolutely nothing. And but I honestly think we have to give credit to our defence rather than their lack of attacking ability, because they showed in other games. Okay, not in the South African game either, but the other games against Tonga and against Romania, they can, like, you know, they can put moves together. But we were just frightening. Our defence was absolutely outstanding. The best defence in the world, no question about it.
I agree with you. Just before we move on to the other guys there, Jack, I just want to ask you a question. There's a comment coming in there in relation to the Schumann incident with Sheehan. It's after the match, WWE are looking for Schumann. Yeah. I get the humour in that one, all right. But on a serious note, what did you think of that? And should Schumann have been cited for that? Do you think, as a player, where would you?
Well, I've never really seen that happen before, but I think it was like pretty cowardly by Schumann. Like, he's knew exactly what he was doing. It was fair play to Sheehan. He didn't move a muscle after he took it very well. But yeah, I think like that's a penalty. It's definitely, you could look at further for that. Like, it's pretty cynical. Like,
there was no sanction. It wasn't even looked at.
It's a red card every week.
Yeah, for me, I thought it was. You know, that was very, very dangerous. He went down on the back of his neck, and like that could have ended up very badly. Especially with that sort of weight coming down on top of him, it could have been life-changing injuries. If
it had happened in the game, it would have been a red card. You know, if it had come down on the back of his head, it was a red card.
Out of everything that happened within that point of the match, that should have definitely been looked at by the TMO, because, like, the act in itself was, as Jack said, cowardly, but it was dangerous as well. You're pushing a man over Hordens into the stand, basically. Do you know? Well, I know it's decided to stand, but like, if he had a fell on his neck, or anything could have happened. Do you know? Or if there was something behind that was sitting there behind the Horden, like, fuck it, it was game over for Sheehan. Like, it definitely should have been looked at by the TMOs.
Peter Burke has a comment in there. Sorry, Mike. Peter Burke has a comment in there, and if I read it correctly, it says, "Forget about Schumann. Wasn't Finn Russell brilliant throughout the game?" Danny, we're going to come to you, because I think this is the one and only game that you saw, and hopefully, try and unmute your mic. 1 second, I'll see if we can unmute your mic there. Not working. Maybe that's there we go. Go on ahead, Danny.
Oh, Jesus
He's
Christ.
still muted, is he?
I think you better unmute his own mic.
Yeah, unmute your own mic there, Danny, will you? We can't do sign language. Come on, Danny. Unmute your mic. There you go.
Fuck's sake.
Calling Danny.
Oh, God. Healy Ray Wi-Fi doesn't work.
Okay, sorry, Danny. We're going to have to give up on that one and move on. Danny Healy Brosnan is not in the house tonight. There's lots of comments coming in. I'm not able to keep up with them all and run the show as effectively as some others.
Peter Burke says Danny's better off leaving it. He sounds better when the sound is muted. That's what Peter Burke said.
Yeah.
Well, Danny.
I think that's actually come in from our friend and colleague as well. Who did I not ask? Richard, did I ask about this game or you've commented on it? Have you anything else to add?
Just they were so clinical in attack. It was just all the Irish players are so comfortable in the ball, be it from 1 to 15. They show up in the midfield and they know what to do and they know where they have to be. And that coaching is, to have all them players, even the guys coming off the bench, to have them all on the same page is absolutely brilliant to see. And it's probably the best Irish team I've ever seen. I'll put it to you that way. That's how good they are at the moment.
Absolutely, 100% agree. Yeah.
Yeah.
Matt.
I've already spoken.
Oh, yeah. Okay, sorry. Yeah.
Peter Martin, I think.
Peter, did I come to you at all? No.
No.
It's not unlike to be quiet like that. Come on ahead.
I was just waiting for the grand entrance, James. It's all your grand. No, just a couple of points about the Scotland match. The fact that Kinghorn, Sarah Duffy's favourite Scottish player, went off injured. He's the other player in that Scottish backline I feel who has a spark and had be a bit of a playmaker. When he went off injured, it was 100% pressure on Russell to create. Do you know what I mean? The load wasn't shared equally or 50-50. Like most, like we know ourselves that, you know, there's playmakers in the Irish team. Like that's the whole idea. Like, you know, Hansen can step in at first centre, first receiver, and play a bit, and it's so interchangeable the system we have. The Scots don't have that, but they would have had worked off a little bit almost the way New Zealand were kind of to ape New Zealand system, where you have Mo'unga at 10 and Kinghorn at 15. Barrett at 15, but there's something similar the Scots would probably try to do. So I think when Kinghorn went off injured, he was distraught. But that really put the nail in the coffin. That put so much pressure, I think, on Russell, because I'd say had they got Kinghorn into the game a bit more, we might have had a few more problems. But anyway, look, what happened. The whole thing with Scotland's defence, they tried to get Scotland's attack. They tried to go east to west at speed. And it goes fucking nowhere. And you're going side to side, you can't go forward or you don't go forward, but you have to earn the right to go wide. They've no unpredictability in their attack, unlike ourselves. So I think, you know, just to finish on the point about Scotland, you know, I think Townsend is getting as much out as he can out of them. The only other thing is perhaps maybe getting, you know, someone else to come in and as a player wise, talent wise, to you know, to be another playmaker or just have get a few fresh ideas, maybe get the pack playing a little bit more ball rather than just, you know, kind of giving it over to the backs to play. Ireland, look, we're look, you know, we've said it already. It's fantastic. But I suppose special mention to Stuart McCluskey. He came on for Hansen and talk about fitting loosely.
He came on twice. For Hansen.
Yeah.
He
came on twice. He came on, yeah, that's right, man. He came on twice, but like he didn't look. He just wandered onto the pitch. He put in a serious shot, played very, very well for a guy who had been, you know, he brought his newborn son onto the pitch, who had plenty of other life distractions going on. He was amazing, and I think that shouldn't be glossed over, because I think that's what Farrell has brought to the Irish team. Like we've seen previously in articles online, whatever. Like what's the difference between Farrell and Schmidt? So Farrell has been big into family, and he's got the players' families more around them and be able to help them relax. And obviously, well, when their wives and girlfriends and sons and daughters go off, it's go time. They have to be switched on, but they're responding so positively to it. And I think, people are making a lot about the fact that, Stuart McCluskey should have played a bit more, and even Jimmy O'Brien. Well, we found out today Jimmy O'Brien had a shoulder issue. That was that was the outcome from the Samoa match. But the clear impression you're getting is that they're happy campers overall. They're all there. They're all basically team of one. Like, so, it's really positive.
Yeah, good stuff.
Even the down week that they had, they were let go to see their family, which is a great thing, because it's a welcome distraction. But it's a family, it's their family. You're in camp for a month or 6 weeks. You're going to miss them, and just to see him for them few days is a massive morale boost for them.
It was beautiful to see Bundy out on the field with his kids as well, and there were some lovely pictures going around about that. And I know the Connacht fan forum have posted a lot of them. So if you get a chance, guys, go on to that one and see it. Tonga Romania was 45-24. Not a lot really to say about that match, but I would like to talk about the last one then, Fiji versus Portugal. Portugal winning that by a point at the end. You'd have to say it was a very emotional end to the game, and Portugal seemed to really enjoy that. Jack, did you see that one?
Yeah, it was brilliant. Portugal have actually probably been the best, or I've enjoyed watching the most out of the kind of tier 2 nations. They've I didn't know much about anything about them going into the World Cup, and they only lost 2 games, won their first ever one, drew one against Georgia. I think they've few serious players in that backline of some serious X factor. That 15 especially, just caused so many teams problems. And even talking to Mac when they were in Portugal in the camp, they were won the blocks. They beat Ireland in one of those 15-minute games. They caused them serious trouble. They're completely taken by shock with them. So they've been brilliant at that. But I thought Fiji were pretty disappointing after the last few weeks. I was kind of expecting them to kick on a bit more, and although they still have a good chance against England, they just didn't look like they were up for it as much this week.
Yeah, I wonder did Fiji maybe take the eye off the ball, thinking that it was just Portugal and left it behind them. They've a lot of sevens players as well, the Portuguese, haven't they? Yeah,
that's what we're saying. They just have good athletes, and although they probably don't have the best structures, but they rely on their kind of that X factor, as I said, to get them over the line, and they're a joy to watch.
Yeah. Anyone else got a comment on that? I'm just looking at the time. We have about 13 minutes left, and I'm going to get to the quarterfinal game. So anyone, go on.
Just a hat tip to Portugal. Absolutely brilliant.
Absolutely.
I couldn't have been happier for them. It was absolutely brilliant.
To me, they've been one of the more entertaining teams in the whole World Cup. They're just outstanding rugby players, and most of them are amateur.
Yeah, that's the impressive part about it. All right, Mike. So I want to move on to the upcoming games, the quarterfinals. The first one we have is at 4 p.m. on Saturday. It's Wales versus Argentina. How do we see that one going, Jack?
I think Wales. I could see Wales winning, to be honest. Argentina have been disappointing as well. I just think the Wales have got better, as you said earlier, although they're not anything special yet, and they probably just have enough to get over the line, I reckon. Okay.
Mike, how do you see that one going?
I'd need to see the squad, the Wales team, because is Bigger going to play, or is I think Anscombe is injured, isn't he? I do think Wales will win that. But I think Wales will win it because Argentina have been really awful. So
fair enough.
Disappointing.
Matt, what's your thoughts on this one?
Yeah, look, I think Wales are going to win this one. They've shown, out of the two sides that are meeting in that match, the Wales have shown signs that they can actually win games. Argentina haven't really performed at all in the World Cup since they got here, so I can't really see that going any other way than Wales, being honest.
Okay. Richard?
Yeah, I think the way the groups were laid out, or the pools were laid out, Argentina are kind of there by default, to be quite honest with you. So I think Wales will win it, but I think it won't be any more than 6 points.
Fair enough. And Peter?
I'm going to book the trend, and I'm going to go for Argentina. Wales don't have Faletau, and I would wonder about having some ball carrying ability there now. Okay, look, Jack Morgan is there. Young enough kind of guy, and he seems very dynamic. But I think he's more of a 7 rather than an 8. Now, look, I think this basically you're splitting hairs really these days. I think really when it comes to back row play, but I think they could well miss the leadership of Faletau. Granted, it's basically Dad's army. Effectively, that Welsh squad really is. But I think they might miss, the presence of Faletau. His experience. He's massively experienced.
So who's Captain Mannering?
Gatland.
Look, I think Bigger's injured, isn't he? Anscombe, I don't know. I didn't hear anything about Anscombe being injured. But maybe he's in.
He went off. Sure, he didn't play Saturday. He went off injured. He played off injured before the game, before the kickoff.
Right. Okay. I missed that. Look, he's made of wet biscuit or whatever. He seems to be constantly injured. He's a bit unfortunate, Anscombe. I just think that Argentina, they were absolutely shocking against England. I was totally convinced that Argentina would beat England at the beginning of the tournament, and because I watched a little bit of them, I watched a bit of them during the Super Rugby, and they were very hard, physical side, little bit of nuance there with them as well, and a few decent players in the backs. I think Argentina are on a shot to nothing, and I think when Checo was interviewed after their last pool match against Japan, they bet Japan fairly comfortably really in the end. Japan shot themselves in the foot a little bit, but I think the pressure's off Argentina because they have been shite, and I just think they'll go out and they'll perform, and I think they'll do Wales. I think we'll see Wales being coming to the end as regards how limited they are. I just think there'll finally be a performance out of Argentina, and they'll take them by probably maybe 5 points.
Interesting. So that one's on at 4 p.m. on Saturday. Then the big one at 8 p.m. on Saturday, Ireland versus New Zealand. Jack, how do you see this one going?
Yeah, I think, as I said earlier, I think Ireland are the better team. I think they will win. The one concern I'd have is the amount of minutes that some of the players have played. I know that they get well rested during the year, but a lot of players are kind of playing. It's the same kind of team every week, and I wonder will that take its toll. Although they don't look like they were showing fatigue in the last few games. Like in 2019, they look wrecked against Japan, against New Zealand, but this time they do look fitter. Though is my only slight concern, but I think the way Ireland have been playing, and they take a lot of confidence from the series last summer that they have unbelievable defense. They've got unpredictable attack. All the forwards can play at the line. There's so many options the whole time. They're always making defenses guess. So I just think that although New Zealand have been improving, they're not the same team they were a few years ago, and I think Ireland will win by 12 or 14 points, I reckon.
12 to 14. Good.
I reckon.
I do hope you're right. Mike, how do you see this one going?
I can't see beyond Ireland winning it at all. I can't see how we'd have to play well below par. Well, certainly below par. If we play as well as we can, we'll beat New Zealand. Simple as that.
Okay, big statement. Given New Zealand their history and all that.
I know that. I appreciate that, but I do think though we are no better than them, and they know we're better than them. We've beaten them. We've beaten them twice. If we beat New Zealand Saturday, which I think we will now have beaten South Africa in the last 3 games and New Zealand in the last 3 games. I don't think any team in history has ever done that.
Jeez, you're getting me excited now, Mike. You're getting me excited. Matt.
The old whiskey's not going to last.
No, definitely won't.
You better phone up Jack Levy again there.
It's very hard to look past Ireland for this because they've just since even the warm-up games, they just have slowly been getting better and better and better. And Ireland teams in the past going to the World Cup seemed to peak before it and then flopped it during it. But it looks like they're still rising up to that peak, and I think it's coming at a good time. Even though, as Jack has made a very good point there, that the lads have played a a lot of game time. I think Bundy Aki and Hugo Keenan have played all matches so far, 320 minutes or something. But again, this is a different Ireland team from teams of the past. They're well coached, they're well drilled, they're fit, they play 80 plus minutes, at full tilt, So I like New Zealand haven't been tested yet. They played France in the first game, and then they had 3 easy games. They're going to be fearing us more than we're going to be fearing them at this moment in time. I believe it, and. I think that momentum that Ireland have going into this game this weekend, I think we're gonna take it, and I think we're definitely gonna win. But it's gonna be close. Like I'd say maybe 7 or 9 points or something.
So you reckon we're favourites going into this?
Oh, we're 100% favourites.
Well,
we
are
favourites. Have us favourites. Everybody has us down as favourites. I'd say
5 to 6.
There's a lot of ex All Blacks are saying that Ireland are favourites for this game.
And historically, that wouldn't have sat well with an Irish team, but this seems to be a bit different.
Yeah, look, historically, like it didn't sit well with teams, but again, this is not a team of an Ireland team of the past. This is a new team, a young team, a team that only know winning and only want to win, and the greed and the hunger there, and it's the relationships that they have as well. They're playing with their families. They don't consider themselves colleagues or rugby mates. They're family, and it's hard to break a good family. Do you know what I mean? And the whole ethos around the rugby team at the moment, it's phenomenal. They're in such a good place. They're happy playing. They give it all for the fans. Johnny Sexton says it every game. After every game he's interviewed, we do it for the fans. We're doing it to give them something to cheer about, and they deserve it, and that's what he's always saying. So,
yeah, I reckon there was around 60,000 there the last day.
It's going to be a cracker game. Cracker game.
Richard, how do you see this one going?
Yeah, I think Ireland will win it. The thing about it is, there's no such thing as a bad New Zealand team.
Yeah,
these are not world class by any stretch of the imagination. They're not world class, but they're not a bad team either. They'll beat 90% of the rugby teams out there with one hand tied behind our back even still. But I think Ireland will just have too much for them. We're too good in defence. And I know New Zealand won great lines and everything, but I think we'll have too much in defence, and our attack is just unbelievable. If we, they're so sharp and so crisp in attack, it's very, very, very hard to defend against. As Peter Martin always says, but the ground is on fire. The ground is on fire. That's the way they play their ruck, and it's very hard to defend against it.
Yeah. Peter, anything to add to that one?
Well, the couple of things really. Like New Zealand are hurting from the series defeat last year. That didn't go down well, so they're going to be up for getting revenge. Flip side of that is we've got all that confidence, from 18 months and counting as world number 1 and haven't beaten them twice out of 3 times. The second thing is Joe Schmidt. People are saying, oh, well, Joe Schmidt was in the cambies at the inside line. That's 4 years ago. I would go out so far as to say is that the game on Saturday could well determine a little bit if Joe Schmidt is yesterday's man, for the simple reason being is that he's going to come up with a few trick plays and a few start. New Zealand will probably score a try off, as Ireland did under him. They'll score a couple of tries off starter plays. So he'll have something up his sleeve. But as regards, real inside knowledge and that, I just don't think that's going to be a real issue for us, because while the faces are by and large the same, the team is wholly different, absolutely wholly different. There's a structure there. There's a system of options in play that we have that no one else no one else playing the sport offers. Another, in the international game, New Zealand don't have the options in attack we do. Schmidt will basically have them running the straight lines, and their basics will be top notch. But as I read this evening on the paper on the online, Ian Foster doesn't stop at an opportunity to make the point that he is the man in charge. So Smith is only one voice in that coaching group for New Zealand.
There was interesting comments from Keith Earls as well, pretty much saying, look, that's ancient history. We're a totally different team now to when Joe was around, and Joe was great, and he did what we needed when he was there. He gave Ireland what they needed, as did Declan Kidney before him. But he's saying it's a different team now, totally different ethos. So we've we're just gone over the hour. I want to get to England, Fiji, and France and South Africa. England, Fiji. Just quickly, Jack, win or lose for who's going to win that one?
Yeah, it's a tough one. It's going to be tough. I would have said Fiji before last week. I was still going to say Fiji. I think they're going to bounce back. I'm hoping that's just a blip and they've enough because they've been brilliant so far up until last week. So I'm hoping for a Fiji win anyway.
Okay, fair enough. Mike, quickly.
Yeah, I actually hope Fiji was rope-a-dope against Portugal and that they come out and play like they can, because England are dreadful. So let's just get them out. They take them out of their misery.
Matt.
Look, I don't think England wanted to play Fiji in this, for the simple fact that like if Fiji bet them before the World Cup in a warm up, and that's going to stick in their mind. So they're actually going to go into that game more fearful than Fiji will. Fiji will have the confidence to go, well, here, look, we fucking slammed these lads before the World Cup. Let's just go and do it again. I think Fiji are going to take this. They were so unlucky against Portugal last weekend, and losing to Wales, they could have won that game as well. So, there's a couple of games there that they should have won, but I'd love to see Fiji win this game, and I think they will. I honestly think they will.
Good. Richard?
Yeah, I think it's going to be a Fiji win, but my head is kind of going 50-50 at the same time, but I think 1 to 15 Fiji are better in every department, with the exception of maybe 10.
I'd agree with you.
Anything else to add there, Peter?
Yeah, I'm hoping my second team, Fiji, do the job. I think once they score more tries than England, they'll win.
That wouldn't be hard.
Laughing all as it may sound, but that's the truth, because England, I don't think they can barely score in a brothel, for Christ's sake.
Never been in one.
Okay, so the final game, and bear in mind my 12-year-old son has just come into the room to sit down beside us here to listen to he wanted to hear Jack Ainger talking. He's a big fan of yours, by the way, Jack. France, South Africa. How do we see that one going, Jack?
Yeah, I think this will be a great game. I think France will just have enough, but like obviously South Africa are so dangerous and they're so they're so unpredictable. Like everyone's saying they probably should have beaten us if they had a few kickers, but like I think France just have a bit more going on with them. They have that flair, but they have that forward pack that can match South Africa. They're nearly just as dominant, but people don't really talk about it as much. But I think Dupont to be huge. It sounds like he's back. Like the Peno scoring so many tries. I just think they've a bit more going on than South Africa.
Mm-hmm. Mike, who's going to win that one?
I fancy France as well. I hope it's France.
Yeah, Matt,
that's good enough for me.
Yeah, look, I'm going to go with France as well. Home in Paris. They're playing well. South Africa are just cocky as fuck. Like same shit, different week, different opposition. They just don't show the respect for not South Africa themselves, the fans. They just drive me fucking insane. But I think France are going to do them this weekend.
And it'll be the ref's fault when they lose.
It'll be anybody and everybody's fucking fault by their own.
Richard,
I'm actually expecting France to give them a good clipping. I'll be honest with you. I think there could be 12 or 14, 16 points in it even.
Yeah,
good on you, Richard.
And Peter.
Yeah, I think. Look, if Dupont rocks up and he puts in, if he picks up and puts in a performance, I think South Africa will be in serious trouble. Because look, they're it's like the History Channel watching them play. It's all based on everything that was done during 2019. The game plan hasn't really evolved. The only thing what they've done is they're basically they'll have Andre Pollard playing hooker and have feckin' Lucanio Am playing as prop or something like that. This is the bullshit that Razzie is doing. And I even heard rumors.
And it's had traffic lights.
That he's going for 7-1. And
And,
traffic lights, yeah.
Rugby needs France to win that.
I heard rumors that he's going for a 7-1 split on the bench. So look,
I have one more person's
absolutely
opinion to
blow
ask.
up in their face.
Donald Brennan, who do you think is going to win between France and South Africa? South Africa. Donald's going for South Africa here as well.
Okay.
Well, folks, we're way over time, and apologies for that. I didn't manage our time very well. So I'd just like to thank our regular contributors, and Jack is our special guest. That surname, Jack Ainger, I haven't come across Ainger as a surname before. It kind of sounds like a 1970s detective series or something like that. If you ever heard what you can call Jack Ainger.
Or a Westerner.
Thank you so much, Jack, for joining the show, and really appreciate your input. And can you spread the word among the other Connacht lads? I'm going to be looking for them to come on the show as well, and I'd be glad to have more of a Connacht presence on this show.
Of course, I'll tell the lads. Thanks a million for having me on.
No worries.
Thanks,
Jack.
Jack.
Really good.
Thanks again, guys. Take care.
Cheers. Thank
Cheers.
you.
Cheers.
Good evening, gentlemen.
In stream.